What up, nerds? Welcome to Grab Tops. We paint people. Welcome in all stragglers, refugees, cast-offs, and anyone seeking some warmth in the disaster of this hobby. While it may unfortunately be timely again, it is the key sentiment that underpins all of this that it doesn't have to be any one way. Anyone who says that's just what pro wrestling is now is even more out of touch. There is always an option. I'm not here to talk about the company history. That is well done by other people already. I'm not here to talk about the differences in listening to fans and trying to engage them in good faith discussion when plenty of creatures are so eager to misinterpret things for attention, listening to fans instead of openly showing them contempt. While I may be cranky about some choices made, Ring of Honor Tag and Trios belts, I know they at least aren't being done out of spite or to humiliate someone. Wrestling is a lot like comic books in that not every story arc is a smash, and sometimes you just have to move on. Which, sometimes you can be completely average, like Superman or the other Rhodes brother, and be hailed as genius, when sometimes it's simply nice to not be drowned in garbage. Yes, I'm also comparing the Bloodline to the Snyderverse. But sometimes you have a multi-year journey pay off in the most glorious way, and you believe in things like Young Buck's shoe lore because you're not looked down on for actually having standards. And I cut a lot off here because I'm not here today for that. People are around, you can wave a flag if you want, you can have your own capes, but I don't know. For me, I got a towel, and I can work with that. You know what you can clean up with a towel? Blood. I'm here to talk about 5 matches we're thankful to have seen live at All Elite Wrestling and how embracing violence has become an unofficial signature for the Challenger brand. They will fork you for that spot. First up, we are going chronologically. That is the only order here. Joey Janela vs. Jon Moxley, June 29th, 2019, Lights Out match. This was the second AEW show. Double or Nothing was obviously special, but that was classic pay-per-view and the debut event, so of course it gets maximum effort. But what next? I mentioned before how exciting it was to know we had tickets for the match in the "I Need My Brother" speech. But that was also not this show. Some of the worst people who don't have any sense of fun give this event a hard time. There is a valid critique, but they aren't making that. This is Jon Moxley's first AEW match after the stunning debut at the end of the night in Vegas, or it would be if it wasn't unsanctioned, a lights out match, a stipulation that we miss as much as the rankings. Revisited later in the year to great effect, to have a lights-out match between debuting star Jon Moxley against indie standout Joey Janela was a bold choice that helped plant the flag that blood and violence are an integral part of this promotion. Part of why this took longer than expected to come out is learning how to make this more appealing. I have pictures now. We are still Joey Janela fans. We love the team with Sonny Kiss, and we still follow their indie careers. Go watch Sonny and enjoy, and Joey everywhere. It's a shame that things didn't work out, but back then this was fresh and it felt like a vote of confidence. Barbed wire and creative plunder were going to be a thing, and the door was actually open for whatever the talent thought of, all the way down to Jericho having a gimmick bag of things to dump out instead of tacks. I'm going to cheat and include another moment from this show, trying to bring chair shots to the head back for the boys. Things did not go according to plan, and as a result, we still see people on both sides overanalyzing chair shots. Cody took a header and birthed the gimmick of the chairman for Shawn Spears, an element of which Spears has maintained back to the other company. It feels more appropriate in hindsight that the big Cody moment happened after the match, a draw with Darby. I don't imagine drawing blood was the intent, but as you see, it certainly was the result. Match number 2. Taye Melo and Anna Jay vs. Penelope Ford and Allie, December 29th, 2021. One of the curses of how television is taped is that you buy tickets on faith. It's not very customer friendly, but that's where we are. But one of the small delights is a crowd finding out they're getting something later in the night that they did not expect. Everyone realizing they get to see a champ in action or some spicy grudge match that had to develop on the first show. This was the birth of what I call Plunder Anna, the more relaxed and free-flowing Anna Jay. Present day Anna only taps into that vibe sometimes. Purely uneducated guess is the stardom run hangs in the back of her mind. Something feels different, but if you want a reminder of why KJ brings such warm reactions from some people, this is where it went to another level. It's not a mistake that the other person currently employed in this match is involved in the chaos right now in the women's division. Penelope Ford, even as a sidekick character right now, feels at home and able to contribute while everyone is trying to push new ground. I don't want to sound like I'm talking down about her. She understands the assignment and is nailing it, having nightly battles of who in that household serves harder. Right now in 2025, bloody women's matches are still largely a rarity, and entering 2022, they were even less common. And here we go on a New Year's Eve themed rampage, we get a violent gem saying that the women are here and willing to be just as crazy. And as much as I don't like crediting companies, that's kind of the point, that we're happy to have somewhere that allows this kind of thing. I don't remember and am not about to go look up where the phrase gory self-mutilation was first used, but it came from cowards afraid of artistic expression. If they don't like it, cool, it's not for you. Just like parading around someone actively named in a sex trafficking lawsuit isn't for many more of us. Right now, AEW is building to what we had originally called as an Anarchy in the Arena match, but I see most people calling for a Blood and Guts match, allowing multiple women a high-profile spot and showing things that have been, quote, forbidden, simply because the public has been held hostage by the preferences of people who make seriously questionable decisions. The stakes are high, but what's important is the opportunity exists. The women's casino gauntlet at All In dramatically outshone the men's. The women's division has dramatically improved, even if it's still hard to get 2 matches on Dynamite. This match isn't inclusion for inclusion's sake. This match is here because it was awesome and belongs on a list of memorable matches for the company. Are you happy, madam? Jon Moxley vs. Kenny Omega, March 7th, 2021. Exploding barbed wire deathmatch. If you're coming new to AEW and do not know about this match, do not look it up before watching. This is a very good match from bell to bell. I remember being so excited and trying to explain my excitement and getting plenty of yes dear, because it's hard to communicate just what they were promising. I rewatched the match before writing this script because I have the live event memories in my head. That first explosion and the crowd going ooh, because it was the first test of how serious are they going to be. Yeah, they had a barbed wire spider web the previous show, but that doesn't go boom. Inferno matches are hard to do, understandably so. This was the most legitimate peril at a big time ring in quite some time. There have been exploding shoes and weapons since then, but if you haven't seen this, there were very much explosives / fireworks around the ropes and under the barbed wire boards. They did this right. Well, they did those right. The Good Brothers coming in, Kenny wins dirty. It's kind of a downer ending for a pay-per-view main event, but taking a step back, I can understand the equation that we're getting something special. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and skip ahead a little. I mean, I guess not really, since I'm not paying enough attention to do chapters yet. But like I said, it's fine bell to bell. There's an unlock in the Fight Forever game to set the explosion to historic. We can chuckle about it, but I'm sure this has contributed to why we won't get another match like this. But remember, there was a Casino Battle Royal on this show, and those matches got a lot of iteration before we landed on the success that is the Gauntlet. We hope somehow it can be revisited, but of course the market doesn't like when things go wrong, and I'm sure all the worst people wouldn't shut up if they announced another one. They'll be fine if you throw away months of story overnight for no payoff, but don't dare try something ambitious and not execute 120%. That's not to say the air did not go out of the open air arena. Rippling emotions of, that's it, what was that, you can't be serious, I could make out the refund chants on the rewatch. It was baffled fury, which I imagine was a lot of the feeling behind the scenes as well. I really want to hear the history of this one day. The story as I understand it is simply they hired a contractor, and sometimes things go wrong, and sometimes things go wrong live on air. If you ask me, I would have rather had a pre-tape or some shenanigans. Remember, also this show had Sting's first match back, a freaking cinematic back when those were still a thing. CM Punk vs. MJF, Revolution 2022 dog collar match. I tell my friend Jose, who went to Revolution with us, that he got to see the last masterpiece of an all-time great. To quote the man, tell me what I'm telling lies. 1 year after a legendary misfire, the choice for eye-catching stipulation was more grounded, and I would say higher risk because the company legacy was already so high. But I don't think there was any chance of this match falling short. As much as I will complain about the excess of MJF, this was probably a great balance of Punk hearing some ideas and just saying no. Simply put, I think Max does his best when he has an editor to rein in the theater kid try-hard bits. I don't care that he played football. He also did skits about going fishing and the power of friendship. But this was venom back and forth. The dislike was palpable in every encounter leading up to the match. I'm not implying anything, I'm saying it was masterful work. The match itself was an excellent back and forth, balancing brutality with catharsis that everyone wanted. It didn't go well afterwards. I can't wait to hear about those stories as well with what actually happened with MJF around Double or Nothing that year. But it'll be a long time, if ever, before those stories come out. Will Ospreay vs. Kyle Fletcher, World's End 2024. The focus on this list is about how AEW as a company is okay with blood, and at times is very okay with it. Did you notice it All In this year, how only the main event had blood? As much as we enjoy white gear changing color, there's strength to be recognized and restrained. Confession, I initially had this written as Ospreay Okada because seeing Okada was a wrestling bucket list item. We're also grateful we got to see Tanahashi when New Japan came to Tampa, right when people were starting to get the flu a lot. I was going to talk about how this was a great example of selling the aftermath of the Vicious encounter, but I was a little blinded by star power and ignoring the actual match stuck in my mind from that night against the new young champion. The new measuring stick for Callum Newman. Say his full name, the proto-star Kyle Fletcher. This was a match of endurance. Will is still the best in the world, and Kyle Fletcher was looking to claw his way through Will at any cost. The Continental Classic is a fantastic thing, one of the best results of putting your money where your mouth is, and yes, I'm purposefully applying it backwards. The fans who had been driven away by spicy food bebe did come back enough for the first one, but I would understand if they waited for the first one to conclude to see if the company was telling the truth that it was going to do something serious. We miss the rankings, and as much as it gets thrown around, the sports-based presentation. But when you have enough people to placate with politics, I guess it's more trouble than it's worth. Who needs tag rankings when we're getting Cope and Christian against FTR for the titles because Cope needs that spotlight? Kyle Fletcher does not need the spotlight. He radiates enough on his own that the spotlight finds him. And working with the best guy going, they put on an emotional struggle of diving into the bag of tricks, other than a Tiger Driver, and doing what is needed to get done. This match wasn't as high to me for a while because no Tiger Driver, which I thought was part of the story, but I admit I was being a bit silly with that. Both matches on the night were excellent, and you can't go wrong watching either one. But Will Ospreay on the night told a tale of being willing to dig as deep as he could, but it wasn't good enough because he overdid it earlier in the night. I view it as a part of character growth and something to be overcome in the future. The way that Will is so massively over and has managed the crowd so well to keep the fans from calling for him to win the championship. I wanted him at Double or Nothing, but clearly that was not the story being told, and yet again everyone has navigated around Will being at the top, and the collective view being, He's getting it at Wembley, right? And it's okay, because here's something different. We as an audience are constantly being told to let it play out, to the point where I imagine a few of you are sighing where you hear those words. We've been the victim of short-sightedness and weakness of will for too long. Yes, there are many things you can point to where AEW has not followed through, but more important are the top programs that do carry through story beats from years ago. It is said that Hangman is the main character of the promotion, and it can actually be looked back at the character arc and where it referenced things in the past. This company both tells their own stories and does their best to help others tell their stories with those who are willing to collaborate. The theme in this list is blood, and just like blood, if you give too much goodwill, it's hard to stand on your own. Strength of conviction is hard to come by these days, and it's nice to see when it does happen, even if it's just to the basics of storytelling and respecting your audience. I'm doing this whole series to help my friends get involved with AEW and be able to get up to speed with the promotion. But really, the best way to get on board, just watch. Watch the shows as they happen, watch the 10-minute highlight package versions that they put up on the company YouTube. Really, just hop on board. Tonight, as I record this, we have MJF and Mark Briscoe. MJF, the new CMLL welterweight, middleweight, whatever, it's CMLL championship. They're only so valuable. But we have a major match coming up for Anniversario, probably, and Mark Briscoe's probably working his way towards a title match against Hangman, so yeah, there's always new stuff happening. And speaking of blood, you can go watch the Briscoe Brothers vs. FTR Dog Collar match included in the anthology. Watch the whole trilogy. The company posted them up if you want something great. But yeah, there's blood there, there's greatness there. Somewhere else to go, but I wasn't there, which is why I didn't make this list. I know, baby, it's technical. But until then, just watch the show. It's great, and there's not a bad time to hop on. But until that comes around, I'll see you in the stands or in the warp. You were disgusting.